Hey guys, happy Wednesday morning. Welcome back. I've got a few articles to share for you. I just wanted to kind of quickly review the first two with you because they're pretty good. This one talks about new tariffs or a new set of legislation that the Trump administration is drafting and is going to implement for countries who are manipulating their currencies. Okay, what they're going to basically do is implement, duties or tariffs onto those countries that are proven to have manipulated their currency. Both South Korea and Vietnam are listed as countries that are thought to have manipulated their currency. So Vietnam's on the suspect list. The next article. So regarding the deficit within the 2020 budget, we already know that higher oil prices will help take care of the higher. Well, first off, they've told us that the large or higher deficit within the 2020 budget is the reforms. That's post rate change. Okay, we know that higher oil prices are going to help ease that, and that's why they've kept oil prices up. They also came out last week telling us in an article that that once they implement tariff taxes at ports and borders, remember that is a post rate change step within the 2020 budget. Once they do that, that'll help ease about 19 trillion dinar, okay, of that large deficit. And now here's an additional article to that. Remember the last year they kept talking that they had a surplus within the 2019 budget? Well, in this article, they did not use that entire surplus, or they have not spent it all. They've only spent a portion of it, so they have a large portion of it remaining. Okay, so what I'm showing you here factually is that a majority of the deficit within the 2020 budget, which is the reforms, all post-rate change, they pretty much have it all covered financially. So I just wanted to show that to you. Here's your news, guys.
Business News. February 3rd, 2020, 9:02 p.m. updated 10 hours ago. U.S. finalizes rule to slap duties on countries that undervalue currencies. Last paragraph snippet. In addition to China, the new rule also could put goods from other countries at risk of higher tariffs, including Germany, Ireland, Italy, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, South Korea, Vietnam, and Switzerland. A parliamentary committee reveals a surplus in the investment budget for 2019. February 4th, 2020. A committee evaluating the governmental program and parliamentary strategic planning revealed, on Tuesday, the financial surplus in the investment budget for 2019. While it showed that the expected deficit in the 2020 budget is inaccurate and merely a planning deficit that does not exist on the ground, a member of the committee, Inam Al-Qusay, said in a statement to Information that the government allocated 33 trillion Iraqi dinars to the investment part of the 2019 budget, of which only 11 trillion dinars were used until last October, noting that all projects were suspended since October due to the protests' popularity. She added that the surplus from the investment budget amounted to 22 trillion Iraqi dinars that can be reallocated to investment projects or to pay off external debts, indicating that Iraq pays 13 trillion Iraqi dinars for foreign debt and may benefit from those excess funds in this aspect. It showed that the expected deficit in the budget of 2020, amounting to 48 trillion dinars, is exaggerated and does not exist on the ground, as it is planned and not real. The Parliamentary Finance Committee confirmed, earlier, that the Parliament will receive the federal budget bill for 2020 from the Council of Ministers in the month of April. Thwarting the theft of 500 million dinars and smuggled into Turkey. March 2, 2020, 10:17 a.m. The Military Intelligence Directorate announced the return of 500 million dinars stolen within 12 hours. A statement of the Directorate, which the Euphrates News Agency received a copy of it, stated that the Military Intelligence Directorate recovered an amount of 500 million dinars that was stolen by a salary officer in one of the units and was planning to escape it to Turkey using a banking company to transfer it where a working group was formed, and that the team was able to collect information and access leads leading to the whereabouts of the amount in a record time that did not exceed 12 hours and arrest those involved in the theft. The statement continued, then the money was returned to the military unit, or the Director of Military Intelligence directed the distribution of salaries to associates and under the supervision of a senior officer from the Directorate. Alawi is reviewing some paragraphs of the 2020 budget to address the fiscal deficit. February 3, 2020 Parliamentary Finance Committee confirmed that the government of Mohammed Tawfiq Alawi will review some paragraphs of the general budget for the year 2020 to address the fiscal deficit. Committee member MP Ahmad Hamas said, the Prime Minister-designate Mohammed Tawfiq Alawi cannot pass the budget and send it to Parliament, except after voting on his cabinet and his government's program. He added that after Parliament votes by an absolute majority of members of the new government and the ministerial platform, the Alawi government can discuss the budget and send it to the House of Representatives. He pointed out that the Prime Minister-designate has a long history of fiscal and monetary policy in the country, so the budget with a large fiscal deficit in excess of 48 trillion dinars can be reconsidered, indicating that the new government will address the fiscal deficit by reviewing some paragraphs. He pointed out that Alawi has many observations on many financial and economic matters in the country, and all problems can be addressed in a short period or in stages. Parliamentary planning. Alawi's government is obligated to complete the stalled projects within the 2020 budget. 1934 February 2, 2020. A committee evaluating the governmental program and parliamentary strategic planning confirmed, on Monday, that the government of Prime Minister-designate Mohammad Tawfiq Alawi is obligated to amend the provisions of the federal budget bill for 2020 in line with its new government program. While it has indicated that the amendment should address the completion of suspended projects that have reached completion rate 50%, a member of the committee, Inam Al-Quzay, said in a statement to Information that the Alawi government will make a number of amendments to the draft federal budget law for 2020 to achieve harmony with its new government program, pointing out that the current ratio of disability is exaggerated and just a deficit, schematic. She added that the amendments must address the completion of discontinued projects, which reached the completion rate of 50% of service projects and infrastructure, noting that the completion of discontinued projects during the current year is a must because the mass movement occurred to stop and delay service projects in the country, and indicated that the government is obligated to focus on completing service projects within the 2020 budget to create a kind of public stability. Yesterday, Sunday, Al-Fatah MP, Al-Kanani, confirmed that the government of Prime Minister-designate Mohammad Tawfiq Alawi will make some amendments to the federal budget bill for 2020 before it is sent to the House of Representatives. Deputy Alawi, after 2 weeks, will announce his cabinet with independent ministers and reveal his refusal to compromise. February 4, 2020. Member of Parliament Nada Shaker Jawada confirmed today, Tuesday, that the Prime Minister-designate Mohammad Tawfiq Alawi will play his cabinet after 2 weeks. Jawada said in an interview with Al Akbaria that Alawi will announce his next government in 2 weeks, with independent ministers. And she added that Alawi rejected most of the political offers regarding his support in Parliament in exchange for appointing ministers affiliated with the political parties. Basra, drowning in poverty, on an ocean of oil. February 2, 2020. Home to Iraq's richest oil wells, Basra should have wealth and development to rival the Emirates. Instead, the southern province is one of Iraq's most impoverished, its residents deprived of even the most basic services and infrastructure. In Al-Qibla, one of the city's neglected districts, residents live among heaps of trash. Many neighborhoods like this one lack clean drinking water, schools, clinics and even paved roads. Khalif Jadir has lived here in his 50-square-meter home for 70 years. Now retired, he served 26 years in the Iraqi army. No one is coming to see the situation of the people here. Not a single official from inside or outside Basra has come to check up on our miserable situation. We do not know what to do, Jadir told Ruda. Jason Maulid, who lives in the Misak district, said, "There are no services of any kind. There are no streets, no sewage, no drinking water. Schools are flooded with water during the winter. We are suffering. The state does not extend any services. There have not been any service projects since 2004, he added. More than 46% of Basra's population lives below the poverty line, despite its 2019 budget surpassing 600 billion dinars, $500 million. The scale of official neglect and corruption stokes regular bouts of unrest, as young Basra's take to the streets to demand reform. We raised our voices and complained against them authorities, but to no avail, Jadir said. We lost plenty of young people during protests. They say the protests will continue until their demands are met. We are waging protests because there are no jobs, no services, and many other things, said Akram Kebel, who is taking part in the mass protests that have gripped Iraq's southern and central cities since October. We are the wealthiest province of Iraq. We are supposed to be the best province in terms of services. If you walk around, you can see the state of the streets, the buildings, and the people. Their living conditions do not match the province's income.